So, a recent study came out outlining the fact that apparently 28% of men between the ages of 18 and 30 claimed that they hadn't had sex in the last year. This is obviously an issue of massive concern because this many young men with blue balls are just a powder keg waiting to explode. Jesse, the terrifying receipts.
Last week, I delved here into recent data from the CDC suggesting major problems with regard to the mental health of our adolescents, surges in depression and suicidal ideation, especially true for our girls. This week, I found cause to worry about young men. This headline from The Hill, it caught my eye. Most young men are single. Most young women are not. The story reported that as of 2022, Pew Research Center found 30% of U.S. adults are neither married, living with a partner, nor engaged in a committed relationship. Nearly half of all young adults are single. Now, look at these numbers. 34% of women, twice as many, a whopping 63% of men. What explains that? I pulled the Pew study and I read with interest. Turns out since 2019, the share of single men who say they're looking for dates or a relationship has declined from 61% to 50%. In 2018, 28% of men ages 18 to 30 reported they'd had no sex in the past year, compared with 18.
This is exactly how civil wars are started. Coochie deficiency is the stuff that topples governments. Ask ex-President Hosni Mubarak of Egypt. His country was filled with young men who had no prospect for advancement due to a failing economy. As a result, Egyptian chicks were not putting out because unemployed penis has a certain bitterness to it. What happened? The excess nut got to their heads and they went crazy. All it took was one incident of police brutality and the entire country was set ablaze by demands of regime change. This is why I urge every world leader, in the name of self-preservation, to begin considering the creation of government incentive programs for women willing to break off a little piece of pussy for the less fortunate men amongst us. Think of it as a tax credit similar to the one that you get when you donate money to charity. So, what is the reason behind this drought in men? Because in the same study, only 18% of women claimed to haven't had sex in the last year. Well, there is a wide number of reasons, but here are a few that I found to be the most poignant of them all. The most nefarious reason in my book is online dating. Online dating did a factory reset onto the sexual marketplace and reverted it back to its prehistoric settings, where you had a very small number of men getting the attention of all the women. See, it used to be that if you're a hot chick somewhere in Idaho, all the male attention you got was from the man in your town. But nowadays, a sheik in Dubai can slide in your DMs and have you on a private jet and in his bed in 48 hours counting travel time. Young Cody cannot compete against Prince Abdulaziz because a woman's hypergamous nature renders Cody invisible to her. The reason why I call this prehistoric is because for tens of thousands of years of hominid evolution, we were a polygynous society, meaning that a man could have multiple wives. It was a much more advantageous survival tactic for a woman to be the fifth wife to a hunter than to be the only wife to a gatherer. This, of course, also came with its own set of problems, especially when we started becoming a more sedentary society with the advent of agriculture, where you now had these quote-unquote tier 2 men migrating elsewhere to find wives and build their own families. This created its own set of problems for men in positions of power because there were nobody left to pay taxes, farm the land, or fight in wars. That's when concepts like monogamy started coming about, meaning one woman with one man, and all this was veiled in religious dogma as a form of justification. But the real reason behind monogamy is because the people in power wanted everybody to get a little piece of pussy in order to calm them down. But at least, as previously mentioned, when men couldn't find mates in their immediate vicinity, migrating to try their luck in the village next door was an option. Nowadays, the internet has turned the entire world into a single village. There is nowhere to run. An average-looking guy on Tinder gets swiped right on less than 1% of the time. This is a terrifying statistic given the fact that 1 out of every 2 relationships are started online. Another key factor to consider is the fact that most young men nowadays live a very sedated life, right? Due to things like porn and highly immersive video games and drugs. See, that dire concoction has created men who lack the necessary social skills to seduce women. Why bother risking rejection when you can just take a hit of the sweet dopamine that porn offers and call it a day? As a result, you have a generation of men with absolutely no game or understanding of what makes a woman hormonal juices bubble. And nowhere is it more demonstrated than in this clip that has been making the rounds all over social media as of late. Jesse, the sad receipts.
So I just left a restaurant after waiting 30 minutes for a date to show up, and apparently I got stood up. I don't know what to say. Like, I'm trying to do everything right to be a gentleman. I brought flowers. I've been consistent talking with this girl for 2 weeks, trying to get to know what she likes, what she doesn't like. I made plans. I picked the restaurant, the day, and the time. I've done everything to be just the kind of guy that would value somebody's time. Like, I'm just looking for my person. I'm just looking for the one that I guess is out there for me. I mean, I want to be somebody's husband someday, father. I'm trying to do everything that's right, and I just get stood up. Like, my feelings didn't even matter. Sitting there eating a meal by myself and realizing that nobody even cares about people anymore. Like, LA dating shouldn't even be this hard. It shouldn't be this hard to find somebody. It shouldn't be this difficult to fall in love, to be kind to one another. Like, what? Ladies, tell me, what did I do wrong?
My man. Here are a few things that your father should have told you before you moved out of his house. First things first. Spelt pussy is like spelt milk. It's not worth crying over. Every time I play this video out loud, I hear an aggressive zipping sound from every vagina on the Western Hemisphere. One of the known negotiable traits of attraction in a man is stoicism. The ability to bear your burdens with quiet dignity. Women don't give a shit about your problems. They wait at the finish line and they fuck the winners. So quit whining. I've never met you before, but I will put my hand to cut that if I went through your phone and read over your 2 weeks worth of conversations with this woman, I will find you gushing over her in a way that made her feel like you were in the bag from day one. Texting back in record times, making her feel like she's the center of your world before she has had a chance to earn your affection, which reeks of desperation. You might be a nice guy, but seduction is a dance. And you, sir, got 2 left feet. So here are a few things you should take care of before adventuring back into the sexual marketplace. 1, lose the weight. You look like a dork. Get yourself a gym membership and become a beast. Also, stop leaving the house without a lineup. You look ridiculous. 2, level up financially. You might not be able to do something about the eye, but in the words of Hove, ain't no such thing as an ugly billionaire. I'm cute. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be a billionaire to get laid, but money does buy happiness, and happy women do have happy throats. Get from that what you will. 3, pick up a copy of Robert Greene's The Art of Seduction and educate yourself on the science of pulling baddies. All that nice guy flower shit is doing is making you a punchline in a gang of group chats. Cut it out. Women are choosier now more than ever because they're on average more educated than men. They're making more money, owning more homes, etc. One of the key reasons behind the baby boom of the 60s was the fact that the government put in place policies that created and advanced the middle class. Men who came back from the war had things like the GI Bill that made it easier to access education, good jobs, and the ability to earn wages that would allow them to be able to raise families, etc. So unless we as a society take this problem seriously and find ways to solve it, I say we revert back to my initial suggestion. Government subsidized pussy. That alone will cut down the rate of mass shootings by 50%. No young man with a coochie appointment on Thursday is going to shoot up a school on Wednesday. Absolutely preposterous. And that'll do for the show this week. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. Please don't forget to share, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you know when we're uploading new content. We're trying to reach 5,000 subscribers before October, so each and every form of engagement helps. Until next time, stay preposterous.